Our first guest today, with the exception, of course, of my co-host for this evening, who's doing a great job, is Tom Jenkins, a gentleman who he's no introduction for girls basketball. Guy who's been in the business for how long now, Tom?
This is going on the 15th year.
15 years now of girls basketball in Ohio. And before we get started with some of the questions that we already had set up, 15 years in the game, how in the world did you ever think 15 years ago that you would still be in this, and how big this game has gotten?
No, Jim, I never thought so. I actually moved up here, I guess it was in '95, with the idea that I was going to help my niece, who was a 5th grader at the time, when she had developed a passion for this game of basketball. Never been involved with the girls' side, always been involved with the boys' side. And got up here, one thing led to another, met with a lot of people that coach both guys and girls so that I could learn about the differences and the similarities. And next thing you know, 15 years later, I'm still here. My niece has gone on to college, graduated, and married and out in the work world, and I'm still here in Ohio, involved with girls basketball.
And you and I have talked, our relationship goes back, quite a few years. And you and I talked about the fact that there's 3 what you call mega states in the country that produce the greatest talent. And I'm trying to go by memory. Texas?
Yes, California
and Ohio.
Yes.
So you look at 2 of the bigger states, and then there's Ohio. What do you contribute that to?
Well, I think a lot of things. One, there's a tremendous pride among the girls who play here. There's a tremendous support mechanism from several communities, obviously including parents of these young girls. And as well, if you look around, you have some I know a lot of folks fuss and this and that and the other about high school coaches, but if you measure it against the other states in the country and talk to college coaches, the best high school coaching in the country is here in Ohio.
And speaking of the great basketball here in Ohio, an event that I'm sure you'd love to recap, since we've come to you last as far as the website's concerned. I didn't get too in detail because I know you like to enjoy a little time off after this event, because it just takes a little bit of your time up. Is the Classic in the Country, and Celina, who's here, also got to work it this year, and she's going to probably talk to you a little about her experience. But Classic in the Country is like no other. And if you have never been there, you can't appreciate just how much work goes into it and how much talent. I mean, every day there's some unbelievable players. The place is packed with college coaches, and just talk about how that's grown and just how this year's went.
Well, the Classic, we work on that 14 months out of the year. You figure there's only 12 months in the year. It's an unbelievable event that we have tremendous support from the community is where it starts within Holmes County. And then we have tremendous support from the girls basketball community with this event. If you look at it, there's only one word that can describe it, and that's magical, because it's rooted in honoring Dr. King and perpetuating the legacy of Coach Reese. But in talking about how magical it is, let's just break it down. The product we're selling is girls basketball. It's a great product, but not the easiest product to sell. Secondly, we're talking about Berlin, Ohio in January, so the weather's always terrible. Third, we're talking about Berlin again, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. And yet we're averaging over 1,500 fans a game there. We had 161 college coaches attend this year. We have great teams. The average point differential this year was 8.5 points per game out of 20 games. And so all you can do is just say that it's a magical weekend. It's a very festive weekend, and it's one that's very rooted in honoring Dr. King and perpetuating the legacy of Coach Reese, which we do through girls basketball.
A lot of times I get emails and calls, hey, can I get in the Classic? How can I get in next year? Well, there's no getting in next year because, like you said, it's a 14-month project out of the year, as we just about that. But, if you look at it, a lot of preparation goes in, not just for the 2013 event, coming up. I mean, you're probably even thinking ahead, even to down the road. I mean, what teams have the young kids that are coming down the road?
We've actually had some schools say that, you know, Tom, we got a group of young girls that are coming up through our community. They're going to be very good. Do you think we can get in the Classic in 2016? We're through Ohio Girls Basketball Report and some of the events that we run, we're able to see a lot of young players at a young age. We see where they're going to school, and so we can project out pretty much, you know, who's going to have very top tier teams, you know, 3 and 4 years in advance.
And young lady sitting here next to me had an opportunity to work it this year. I'm sure you really enjoyed yourself.
It was an amazing event, just seeing how many college coaches show up to watch girls basketball, and things that Tom Jenkins has done for women's basketball is amazing. And it was a lot of hours. I know behind the scenes, all the college coaches signing in, and it was an amazing event.
And you had some tremendous workers. I mean, these aren't faces that you're not going to know. Basketball fans are going to know these faces at work because they're the ones that put in the hard work during the season to become great basketball players. Maybe their team isn't there, but having these young ladies there also adds a lot of credibility because it's like, you know, the best players, if their teams aren't here, they're working.
Well, we try to go back to one of the things that Dr. King stood for, and that is that it's about inclusion. It's not about exclusion. And so we try to include everyone in some capacity that wants to be involved. Obviously, we can't accommodate all 798 teams that play high school basketball here in the state of Ohio, so we have to have cutoffs there. But individuals that want to be involved, we will always find a place and a way to include them, because that's one of Dr. King's messages, is that our society needs to be one of inclusion, not exclusion.
Right. And while we aren't at liberty to go through who's going to be there next year, because everything's still being, one thing you can guarantee is that, you know, you come back and you're going to have a great time.
Well, it's we hope so. I know my whole concept, or our whole goal with college coaches that come there, is we want them to sit there and just say, "Gosh, you know, I have a great weekend. I can't believe I get paid to do this." And the same thing along with our fans that come. We want them to have fun. It's a celebration, what we call celebration of sameness. While it is a culturally diverse event, in the end, we're all the same. And so it's a celebration of sameness, and we try to create a festive atmosphere for everyone to enjoy.
Speaking of great atmospheres, here in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a great atmosphere in Columbus. As you know, right now we're in the second week of the sectional tournament. Been some surprising upsets. You know, we talked about Lakota East, talked about Triad getting knocked off by Jackson Center yesterday. You got to show up every night now. There's no nights off. I don't care who you're playing. But this year's state tournament, I'm sure in your eyes, is going to be pretty exciting with some of the top teams.
Yes, I think it's trying to determine who the top teams are right now is quite a task. But first, I think we have to give. I know that a lot of folks sometimes want to be critical of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, but to me, it is a remarkable job what they do in putting a tournament on that has 798 teams, especially since Tim Street has come on board at Ohio High School Athletic Association. If you look at the things that they offer girls basketball through their state tournament, it's not found in any other state in the country. Give you a little example, if you go on their website and click on the brackets, they have a school locator where you type in the name of the school and it will locate where they are in the tournament, who they beat, who they lost. And I know friends of mine at the college ranks that subscribe to our service, they tell me that you know, no other state in the country does that for girls basketball here, and they just do an amazing job at promoting this tournament.
And you know, and I agree, Tim's done an outstanding job since he's been on board. You know, we have run events. You know, my events don't compare to what you've run with numbers, but you know, could you imagine trying to keep 800 schools happy? You know, it's not going to happen, and you know, you're always going to have people upset. But since he's been on board, I agree, he is just taking the bull by the horns down there in Columbus.
Just an amazing job, and the fans support this, because I have friends of mine that coach down in Florida, where I used to coach down at the high school level, and they'd been up here, and on the Saturday at Harrison, when all the there are 4 Division I district games that day, there are more people that come through Harrison on that Saturday than attend the entire state tournament in the state of Florida. And so it's pretty amazing how popular it is, and how much people support the game of girls basketball here in Ohio.
I know you've got to hit the road and you have quite a long drive back up north, but before you go, Tom, talk about the state of basketball in general. You know, I've been involved since 1986. You've been involved a lot longer than that in different capacities. The game, do you think the game has changed? Do you think the people has changed? What do you think are the big differences between back in the day and the state of the game today?
Well, I think as far as girls basketball go, I think the only difference between girls basketball and boys basketball now at the high school level is what I call 24 inches. The guys play at 24 inches off the floor higher than girls. But if you look at the quickness, the physical play, that's legal physical play that they're being allowed to play with, the skill level, the understanding of team concepts to go along with their developing individual skill sets. It's amazing where the game of girls basketball is, and while there has been some talk about the boys game in our country regressing and coming second to the Europeans, I think in the girls game, girls from this country and from the state of Ohio are far in advance of any other girls from around the globe.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, and the thing is, it's a lot of people are giving back to the game too, which is great. We have a young lady coming on next, Nikki Drew, who played here in the Queen City, both high school and college, and now she's leading a really strong program over Lakota East, and someone who's done a great job with girls basketball in general.
Well, and Nikki Kramer is one of the pioneer players, not to give away to her age by any means, but if you go back to her days when she played for Mary Jo Huseman here at Mercy, let's just briefly talk about Mary Jo. In '72, that was when Title IX, gender equity, was passed. Mary Jo was coaching Mother Mercy High School and the University of Cincinnati women's basketball team, both in the same year, and not getting paid a dime for it. And so those folks we need to pay respect to. We need to not forget the road that they paved. And coming on next, obviously, I call her Kramer, Nikki Kramer Drew, is one of those that helps set the standard by which girls basketball is measured here in the state of Ohio.
I agree. She's an outstanding coach and a great person. She's going to be on next. But Tom, I really appreciate taking your time to come down and talk to us about some girls basketball. There's nobody out there that I want to talk to before this guy comes. If I have any information I need, I call him, because he's the guy that he'll say it the way it is, and he'll be honest with you. So I appreciate you coming down. Thanks, Tom.
Well, Jim, we certainly appreciate it, and you need to take a moment to tell you thank you, because it's not a lot of people are willing to do what you do with your time and your dedication to this game and promotion of this game, and because people can't get excited about it unless they know about it, and you do one heck of a job getting people to know about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fun fact about Tom Jenkins is he played a harmonica in the blues band.
You care to talk about those days?